course, crews from forestry are mobilized and they're working to their full capacity at all times, as long as conditions permit that. We have requested assistance from the Canadian Interagency Forest Fire Centre. Yesterday, I do believe, we were provided a bird dog from New Brunswick, so we thank our provincial partners for that effort right now. Our Provincial Emergency Operations Centre has been engaged, of course, and is working with the communities and all our community partners, and certainly want to thank the Canadian Red Cross and the Salvation Army, who are always there in these very difficult situations. So I want to thank them for their incredible work and their effort. I really want to make sure Newfoundlanders and Labradorians know that we're there to support them and we're working with them. But of course, I want everybody to exercise diligence when they're near or close by or in wooded areas in our province. It's no secret this has been an unbelievably historic dry season on the island, which is one of the major reasons we're seeing the abundance of forest fires. And we can't control Mother Nature, of course, but we can control what we are doing. So I really want everybody to be extra cautious during the remaining summer months. Be careful when you're operating things like ATVs or even chainsaws. This can start fires. Avoid having campfires at all times, and please avoid smoking and disposing cigarette butts or matches in wooded areas. I'll just provide some specific updates now on the two wildfires that we're focused on today. But just for a little bit of background too, we've had 192 fires already this summer. And that's been a total of 8,400 hectares burned in this province. Historic numbers that we are facing and that we've seen over the first few months of the summer. The wildfire status as of this morning, about an hour ago, in the Kingston-Adams Cove Small Point area. The very unfortunate situation is that we can confirm that we have lost some structures overnight, which really was not surprising given that the fire has tripled in size since last night to about 735 hectares right now. Forestry crews are holding the line. They were holding the line on the fire yesterday, but it did take off around 7:30 last night, and as I said, burned aggressively through the night, which led to the tripling in size. It did burn up along the areas of Adams Cove and Small Point, and as I said, the reports that we have can't confirm the numbers because it is still very smoky, but it's pretty safe to say we have lost some structures overnight. Today we anticipate that the winds will shift, but that continues to make it difficult, and it's an active fire. The winds are now blowing in the opposite direction, so the fire will go back and move from the opposite area where it was burning yesterday. 2 water tankers, the bird dog, and 1 helicopter are working this morning in the area, along with ground crews. And the focus today is on structure protection in the communities. And as well, there are suppression efforts on the south edge of the fire, which is along the highway towards, I think it's Percy's Cove and Victoria, to prevent southward growth. Again, I want to thank all the local fire departments for the work they're doing and the work they've done overnight to protect the homes that have survived throughout the night. As for the Holyrood fire, the wildfire had no growth overnight, and it's approximately 22 hectares in size right now. The water bombers and the crews just did an amazing job holding the fire yesterday. Today, ground crews will continue to work hot spots in the Holyrood area by helicopter bucketing. And we continue to make good progress on this fire. We are not aware at this stage of any structures lost in the area of the Holyrood fire. As I said, I was in Victoria yesterday. I want to thank Minister Jamie Korab, who's from that area. He is out there today meeting with individuals. I just want everybody to know that we are there for them, whatever they need. Even things like yesterday when I was out there, they had some difficulty with internet, so we've provided them with a Starlink system this morning. Little small things like that, I mean, they do go a long way. It's a very difficult situation to be displaced from your home, but Newfoundland and Labrador, the government is there for them, and we'll work through it, make sure you have a safe place to sleep and enough food to eat. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Minister Haggie, our Minister of Public Safety, for some comments.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Premier. I think I'd like to start by echoing your comments of thanks with regard to local tanker crews from Gander, as well as the fire crews on the ground. This is hard work, it's difficult work, and particularly the ground crews, it's not very glamorous work, it's pretty dirty. So thank you to them. I think it's also important to notice that people are following the rules in terms of the evacuation, and that has been very helpful, and indeed it ensures your safety. We currently have about 290 households registered for a total of about 600 people. If you have left the communities under the evacuation order and have not registered, you should do so, even if you don't need the services that are being provided locally. The number is, as before, 7290921, and that's staffed around the clock. We have been dealing, as the Premier alluded to, with speculation on various fronts. I mean, for example, on Facebook today, there was a story that there was a food challenge at Pasalvik, and that is not the case. We have checked with the Salvation Army and the Red Cross, who we contract to provide services for the first 72 hours of any such evacuation. They are doing that in the excellent way that they have done on previous occasions. So food is not currently an issue. The other speculation has been around the cause of these fires. And I think this has got to a fever pitch on social media. And it's with that in mind that we have invited Chief Superintendent from the RCMP to help address those concerns as can be best addressed at this. And so I'd take that opportunity to hand over to Chief Superintendent Robinson for an update from the RCMP point of view. Chief?
Thank you, Minister Aggie, and thank you everybody for this opportunity to connect and discuss our wildfire investigations. We understand that residents are feeling anxious. It's been a very challenging wildfire season. I want to assure you that active investigations into wildfires have been reported and are ongoing. During an active wildfire, the primary role of the RCMP is to implement safety measures that are implemented by a state of emergency. So this includes adherence to evacuation orders, road closures, and ensuring to help protect and maintain public safety. We work with our partner agencies to investigate fires when cause cannot be determined. I understand the frustration and anxiety that people are feeling, and I want to reiterate that we are actively investigating the fires that have been reported to the RCMP. I need to stress that we cannot investigate what is not reported. We've heard a few different numbers in terms of how many fires there have been, and it doesn't line up with the information that we are receiving in what has been reported to the police. So if you are able to extinguish a small brush fire, we still want you to contact the police to make a report on that particular fire. The reality of these investigations is that they are very complex. They take time. An investigation may also be delayed during an evacuation because it must be safe to re-enter to conduct that investigation. We are urging anybody with information about wildfires or suspicious activity to contact their local police department and make a report. This includes reporting any fires that you see, even if it's quickly extinguished. And if you don't report it, again, we cannot investigate it. Our communities are close-knit, and information and rumors can spread very quickly, which then, in turn, turn into fear and frustration. So I cannot stress enough the importance of reporting any information, especially in relation to the Kingston Adams Cove fires, to the Harbour Grace RCMP at 709-596-5014. And you can also share information anonymously through Crime Stoppers. But again, I would like to stress that the quicker you can report information to us, the quicker we can act to conduct those investigations. So please call if you have information.
Thank you. I'll ask Minister Dempster from the Department of Forestry for some comments.
Thank you, Premier. Good afternoon, everyone. So as the Premier stated at his opening, we are experiencing a fire season like no other. 192 fires compared to 58 up to this time last year. I do want to add, while we've lost much less in hectares, 8,000 this year, thereabouts, compared to 67,000 last year when we've had two really big fires in Labrador, we still know that the number of fires are placing a great stress on our community, on our services, on our environment. So that is why today I am implementing a fire ban for the entirety of this province. On September 7th, we will revisit the fire ban, and at that time, supported by the guidance of our fire behavioral specialist, our experts in fire, in forestry, wildlife, we will make a decision on September 7th whether or not that ban will be lifted at that time. And I just want to say to folks that even though it may be raining, or you might feel in your particular region there's not why would we do a province-wide fire ban? A province-wide fire ban helps reduce the risk of wildfires and supports our efforts of suppression. I also want to add that violating a fire ban can result in a fine of not less than $1,000. I have had some questions around last week when we lifted a fire ban that was in place. We made the decision last week to lift the fire ban due to a low fire hazard rating that was right across the province. And that was thanks to a lot of rain that we had had. This past weekend, the fire indexes have risen again for many parts of the province to very high and extreme. And while our own guidelines on fire hazard ratings is clear that when indexes are high, fires are banned, I want to ensure that everyone is aware right now that all open fires across Newfoundland and Labrador is banned. I would invite folks to visit the forestry website or the forestry social media site, where all information related to bans is clearly outlined. And I also want to encourage everyone in our province to follow the ban. It's not about, as I said earlier, what the weather is like in your area. It's about the impact that one fire can have when we are already fighting fires in other communities. I also want to remind people again, when drones are in the sky, we can't fly. So please note, no drones. I have also been receiving a number of questions and concerns about air quality. And while we have sites we can direct you to for air quality, I just want to let the viewers know that Dr. Fitzgerald will be hosting a media avail at 1 p.m. today on air quality. Thank you very much, Premier. I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Minister. So I'm going to make two quick comments following everybody's comments here this morning. And the most important part, obviously, the ban is in place throughout the province. Really, really want people to take this seriously, take the safety of not only themselves but their fellow community members seriously as well. And note that the RCMP has clearly advised there are active investigations ongoing into the cause of these fires. And I would ask people, please, to focus on, when you're getting your news and your information, to rely on government social media channels or RCMP social channels. I do appreciate that people can share information on social media like Facebook, and that can be very important. Maybe people are offering food or a place to sleep or or places to go. But rumors don't help the situation. So let's let the RCMP, Fire Commissioner, the government, and LHS do their jobs, and please follow them for specific information at this time. So we'll allow for any questions right now.
Hey, Superintendent, you mentioned that the numbers don't line up of what you're hearing.
I'm Adam Walsh. You were listening to The Signal. You were just listening to Premier John Hogan, joined by Ministers John Hagee, Minister Lisa Dempster, representatives from the RCMP as well, giving us the latest on the wildfire situation for the Avalon Peninsula. Folks, so if you're tuning in typically on Tuesdays, right, gardening, we will have that a little bit later in the show. We wanted to take this live because the information is important to folks in affected areas, and also to know about the province-wide fire ban until September 7th, which was just announced. We will go now to CBC reporter Daryl Roberts. Daryl, hello.
Adam, hi.
You've been out and about. I heard you on the morning show this morning. Where are you now, first of all?
So, Adam, I'm here outside the Conception Bay South Arena, which has been set up as a temporary area for evacuees to go and register, and if they need shelter or anything like that, this is where they can come find that. I'm about 10 minutes from the evacuation zone on Conception Bay Highway, which ends at the western part of Conception Bay South and extends into Holyrood.
You know, Daryl, like I was walking downstairs to the studio, and like you hearing, St. John's on the Parkway whiff of smoke coming in from the doors. What's the air quality like there? We've heard concerns. The Dr. Fitzgerald's got availability now at 1 p.m. Island time. What's the air like where you're to?
So, Adam, it's actually it's kind of odd actually, because I've been out here since about 6:30 this morning, and when I was in this area at 6:30, the smoke was pretty heavy. You could definitely smell it. Even just being outside for 20 minutes or so, my throat almost felt like it was getting kind of scratchy when I was outside here. But over the past couple of hours, in this area at least, I don't know if it's because the direction of the wind changed or what, but I don't smell any smoke right now. And I'm looking around. I have a pretty good vantage point of Conception Bay, and things are pretty clear right now. But I was chatting with some folks earlier, and they said, to some of us, it might feel like, everything's cleared up in certain areas. But if you have like some kind of, lung condition or something like that, then you might not feel so comfortable. So, definitely, it seems like it's a quickly changing scenario too.
Yeah, and also, yes, that tracks with the fact of the Premier and folks were saying that the winds were changing, blowing back onto the fire, and then you've got this announcement out from Dr. Janice Fitzgerald talking about the provincial government encouraging precautions against potential health risks due to reduced air quality and particulate in the air. What else have you been talking to folks about today with your reporting?
Well, I was speaking with some volunteers here at the CBS Arena earlier this morning. They said that between last night and this morning, around 50 to 60 families have registered after being evacuated from their homes. Now, that wouldn't encompass everyone who's been evacuated, because not necessarily everyone has registered. I spoke with a woman, Leslie McCrate, who told me she was actually on the way home from the hospital yesterday afternoon to her home in Holyrood when she reached the area where the road was blocked off, and she was told she was going to have to turn around, even though her medication and her clothes and everything were in her home, but she wasn't allowed to go in, because I guess the officers or the officials didn't feel that it was safe for her to go in there. So she has a camper pretty nearby on Salmonier Line, so that's where her and her husband stayed overnight. And then they were here getting registered this morning. She said she's going to be able to go to a pharmacy to get that medication. But that's just one example of, she was in hospital. She didn't even know that the evacuation order had been put in place because she, had other things going on, and she received that surprise when she got to the entrance to Holyrood.
Right. What, like, I know you've been working for a bit now. So is your day wrapping up? Well, we expect you for your coverage as it continues. Will we be looking for you tomorrow, or what's the plan for you now?
The situation's changing pretty quickly, so I'm not sure what the plan for me tomorrow is quite yet. I'm sure, as things develop, we will, of course, have coverage of the fires, the continuing situation with the fires on the morning show tomorrow. But CBC reporter Henrika Wilhelm is taking over for me out here in the Conception Bay South Holyrood area now, and I'm going to come back to the station and start planning for our coverage of the situation as it changes tomorrow.
Dale Roberts, thank you so much. I'll see you when you get back to the station.
Thanks, Adam.
All right, folks. Morning show reporter Daryl Roberts there, just giving us. He was out all morning talking to folks, checking out the scene. Let's go now to Scott Chandler, who is on the line. Hello, Scott.
Hi, Adam. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Tell us about where you are in your situation, if you could, please, sir.
I live in Small Point, Broadcove, Blackhead, Adams Cove, and we were evacuated. And about 7:30 last night, I was told my house it was destroyed by the fire.
I'm sorry.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. As tragic as it is, I could rebuild. I have house insurance. I can say there's a lot of people in this community that are scared. We have a lot of seniors. Since May 7th, we've had 12 fires in this region. It's not coincidental. I can't say there's an arson, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Something's fishy, Adam. I don't know what's going on here. We're scared.
Yeah.
We're upset. You know, I really don't know what to say. I'm numb, as you could probably hear from my voice.
Yeah, no, and it's all of that is completely understandable for what the news you just got, and what you're going through. Are there supports, because you go through something like this, whether it's family, friends, or whether it's like the channel LifeWise Warm Line? I mean, are there supports? Are you talking to folks about, and we're trying to just talk through this and to try to kind of come to terms with exactly what you're trying to process here?
Absolutely. Like Sue, you were just talking to one of the counselors. Like, she is fantastic. The council out here is amazing. The mayor and council have done so much for this community. They're here, they're sleeping on beaches, like we're really making a good go of this. And I cannot thank mayor and council enough. I would really appreciate Steve Crocker, our MLA, to come out. We don't know where he is. The premier came yesterday. I had a lovely meeting with him because I'm helping here volunteering. We have religious people. We have the Red Cross, the Salvation Army. Like, we have such a strong community here helping out. It is fantastic, Adam. I wish you could actually see the support that we have here. I cannot thank enough people for what's going on in this crazy time.
Do you have any idea what your steps are going to be now for the coming days? I'm numb. I think when I go and stand in my driveway and see the wreckage, I think I'm probably going to have to call mental health, I have an 8-year-old son, he's doesn't really understand what's going on. I think until then, we'll go from there. Like, I'm also a member of the military, so I'm used to high stress. I'm used to, crazy events, giving back to the community, helping out. That's why I'm here. My wife's an RN. She's also an Army officer as well. So this isn't my first rodeo. I lived in a little place called High Level, Alberta. We had a crazy forest fire there a while back. We were evacuated for 2 weeks. So everyone looks at me and goes, how can you be so strong? Well, it's not my first rodeo. No, you're wired. It's your wiring, right? Like, it's
and it's just built into us. Like, it's just that Canadianness in us. We just give, we help, and it's fantastic, Adam. I really wish you could just see it firsthand.
How long have yourself, your wife, and your son lived in the community, by the way?
We moved back from Alberta about 3 years ago. So 3 years in this community. My wife is from here, so we bought a home just before the pandemic, and we lived in Alberta, and we said, you know what, it's enough crazy out there. We're going back east. And here we are. And, like I said, May 7th, we were evacuated because we had a fire there that burnt down Adams Cove.
This reality we're living in, and I know there's questions, and the RCMP was just on too with the press conference talking about investigating, but this summer reality in Canada that we're facing with wildfires, I'm just wondering, just your overall thoughts on just how we approach this reality when we have loss and damage and what is happening.
It's crazy because it's coast to coast to coast. Look at Vancouver Island. Look at Newfoundland. Look at all across the prairies. Like, it is ridiculous the amount of forest fires we've been having. And climate change, sure, is it ignorance of people? I don't know, but this is uncanny. I'm 45 years old. Like, I've never, like, even growing up, we never had these crazy forest fires that we have now.
Yeah.
And it has a lot to do. Like, Winnipeg, when it's 45 degrees Celsius there, in late May, early June? Come on. Winnipeg. Like, that's not normal. Like, it's climate change. It's people's changing. It's crazy, Adam.
Scott, I'm so sorry for what happened with your house. I'm glad you guys are okay. We will we'll stay in touch on this if you don't mind. I'd like to follow up with you. You're an important voice around all of this, and I know Sue Rose is next to you. Can you put Sue on the phone?
Yeah. Listen, I just want to say thank you for allowing me this opportunity to speak. I really appreciate this. And you know what? You take care as well, okay?
Thanks, man.
All right, here's Sue.
Cheers.
Hello, Adam.
Hi, Sue Rose. So Small Point, Adams Cove, Blackhead, Broad Cove, councillor, resident, leading community voice. How are you doing? I know it must be awfully rough.
Yes, I can't describe what we're all going through. I'm just seeing so many people that, slowly getting word that their homes are gone. We're going to, once we map out everything, once the fires are extinguished.
Do we know anything on numbers, Sue? Because we heard from
yet,
Scott.
No.
Okay, because it's just multiple structures.
It's still burning.
Yeah,
it's multiple, and it's still burning.
Okay.
So our goal today is to extinguish the fires, and so there'll be no residents entering the community today, for sure. And the emergency response team with Newfoundland, Labrador. Emergent response team, they're fantastic. They're updating 3 times daily our mayor and deputy mayor, and so we're keeping in the loop. I just want to speak because I'm feeling the fire in May the 7th. We had a huge fire. We lost 12 homes, and I think it was 38 structures. That was something that a fire can happen. Maybe 2 fires can happen, not 12 fires. We've had 12 fires since May the 7th. We've evacuated actually 3 times, not twice, different parts of our community. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm going to say it. There is someone trying to burn us out. We're living in fear. I'm a counselor. I'm hearing every day. So what are we going to do? The community themselves, the residents, have put together teams because the fires start at the same time. Every day, every fire, it starts the same time. It starts with a certain wind. So we had 6 fires in one area, and we set up a surveillance. So we had people patrolling the area during a windy day, okay? Whoever is doing this, and I'm going to say that, and I'm speaking as Susan Rose, okay? Let me speak as Susan Rose, because I'm seeing this beautiful, beautiful community. I ran coastal cottages for years. It's destroyed. It's not our. I can't tell you what I'm seeing in the videos and the reports I'm getting. We're going to go back to devastation. And this is our 12th fire. So we need a lot of support. We need support from government. We need government officials coming out and meeting with us and talking to us. We need the Justice Department. We need the RCMP talking and telling residents exactly what they're doing. I know there's an investigation and you can't talk about it. And I know that we're all gathering evidence, but we need the experts out here. We've needed them for a long time. And now here we are today. So I'm saying things, and I'm not trying to criticize anyone. I know everyone is trying to do their best. But let's face it, I'm going to say it again. This is our 12th fire. They occur at the same time. And I must say, Sunday's fire, where the fire departments couldn't reach, was the first one on a weekend. And so we have people not going on vacations. We have people fearful of going to St. John's. If they got to leave their animals, they have to leave their animals with someone else. Think about living like that for 3 months. So we have people that their anxiety are gone to the roof. I had a woman say to me, myself and my husband take turns, and we're both working. Susan, we can't do this much longer. The number of people that come to my door, this to me is something. We are in a crisis. And again, I know there's a lot of fires across Canada. I know we've probably got one of the driest areas in the province. There's wells going dry. So all the more reason that we have to focus on stopping this. And by stopping it is finding out exactly who is responsible. Because it's not a cigarette butt. It's not anything but someone deliberately setting fires.
Yeah.
So I want everyone, including the Premier, to hear that. And I'm hoping that in the next week, we are going to see ministers come out here and sit with our residents and hear what they're going through. Because it's been a long time. And I look forward to seeing them. I know everyone is trying to do their best, and I know everyone is busy. And we just watched, obviously, a news conference, and a lot of people in the room were starting to feel upset because people were sort of not saying what exactly was happening to us in Conception Bay North. And now I'm saying it. And I want to thank you so much. I'm getting emotional.
It's okay.
It's just one person after the other. You know, it's like, it's just insanity. Yeah. You know, Adams Cove that went through hell in May, we don't know what's left down there now. And so, again, Adam, and to anyone listening, please, ministers, Steve Crocker, we need you. We haven't seen you. You're letting us down. Where are you? Please come out and talk to us. Minister Hagee, come out and talk with us. Speak to us. Tell us what's happening. Tell us what the plan is. Tell us you've got the team of experts that are patrolling our area so that this can finally be stopped. Because let's face it, is it over? So I'm going to run because I'm getting more and more emotional and people are looking at me and they're emotional. Yeah. So thank you so much. I hope everyone heard me. And again, I'm not trying to be critical of anyone. I'm just trying to say enough is enough. We're at the end of the rope.
Sue, thank you for coming on the show, especially with everything going on and emotions are 100% normal right now. So, I don't worry. I get it. Everyone listening gets it. And we'll be in touch and we'll keep following this. So thank you, Sue.
Okay, thank you.
Sue Rose there, Small Point, Adams Cove, Blackhead Broad Cove, councillor resident. Let's go. So, like I said, folks, this is the signal. Typically, gardening day. Obviously, we're not doing that. Towards the end of the hour, we might get to a couple of questions that were sent in. I want to say hi. Josh Ellick is here from the Memorial University Botanical Garden. Thank you for sitting with me, sir, today on this as we talk through some wildfire ins and outs. So Josh is here with me. We're going to keep taking some calls. So if you're being impacted, if you've got something to say, if you've got thoughts around the wildfire situation impacting the Avalon Peninsula, or just overall, 709-722-7111, 1-800-563-8255. You can text us, 709-327-8206, the signal at cbc.ca. And for folks, if you did email about some gardening questions and we don't get to them, me and Josh will talk after the show and we'll send you a couple of answers for what you're looking for. But this just feels like we're going to keep pushing on for now. Anyways, let's go to line 2. Sean is on the line calling from St. John's. Hello.
Hi, Adam. I feel so dearly for the people over in Conception Bay North, but we were really impacted again. A new area now, and that's in the Conception Bay South area, up through Holyrood and so on, and it's not over with yet. But, this all was brought to light back in the 1960s when my father was a Minister of Environment in the Fincher government, and they were talking about it and trying to do something with it back then. And we were worried about what's going to happen in the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And we were still talking about it at the Paris Accord. And we're still talking about it today. And now we have a president of the U.S. who's saying, drill, baby, drill. And we have people in Canada who don't think there's such thing as climate change and as global warming. Well, people, there is such a thing, and we've got to stop littering, like throwing cigarette butts out. Yesterday, I was riding my bike when all of a sudden I took in a big gulp of air on the Conception Bay South old railbed trail, and I could smell the smoke coming. And I said, "Oh God, don't tell me it's over here too." And sure enough, the further I rode, I finally decided I better turn around and go back and get a mask and get out of there. But before I did, there was a lit cigarette butt smoldering right where I turned around next to a bench. Obviously, someone was sitting there and just dropped their cigarette butt, didn't bother putting it out. And it was sitting there in the grass. And if I hadn't put it out into the sand on the trail, it probably would have smoldered and caused a fire. That's how dry things are.
Yeah. So
don't we have any serious littering consequences here? I mean, when's the last time a fine has ever been given for littering? I mean, all of us had to take responsibility for this, and some people just could care less. And I know that's what's happening in different places, whether it's over in Conception Bay North, which I just listened to and have listened to now for weeks. And it's so sad to hear that. People losing their structures again last night. It's unbelievable. But we've got to take responsibility for all of our actions, which has turned a climate that was very pleasant back in the 50s, according to my father. I'm not that old. But, and nowadays it's commonplace. I mean, we've never seen a summer this hot before.
I'll say, Sean, we did a show back in June on wildfire season and what folks need to know. And we were talking about this thing. It's called the Wildland Urban Interface. The acronym is the WUI, right? The zone where human development meets and intermingles with wildland vegetation. And that's Newfoundland and Labrador. Right? Like when you think of our families and friends and everyone else, and in that show, I said, I looked outside and said, I'm looking at the health sciences across the street on the parkway, and what's behind it? Forest. Right? And by the way, which I've seen a fire in before, years before. So this is the thing to think about when it's hot or hotter than normal, dry, waiting for rain, and the littlest thing can cause a fire, and then it just goes. So yes, to your point.
And it's too late then, Now we've got to get into protective mode and save ourselves, save our animals, save our properties. Like when we come back, will it be there? It's unbelievable how our lives will change in a flick, pardon the pun, but in a flick of throwing something out or not taking your garbage out of the woods, leaving glass in the grass out there, and it's acting like a magnifying glass. It's so hot. And everything is so dry. We didn't have the runoff like we used to get years ago from the winters. We're not getting all that because we idle our vehicles. We don't pay attention to all the things that climate forecasters were telling us to 10 years ago, 20, 30, 40 years ago. We have to start doing. Stop idling your cars. Make sure your gardens are nice and tidy so if something can happen, it probably won't if you protect yourselves. There's just so many little things we can do, but I think we say, we're in Newfoundland. It'll never happen to us. It's happening to us.
Sean, I appreciate the call as always. Important points, a lot for folks to think about. So thank you so much for calling.
My pleasure.
Sean Callahan there, folks. The lines are open. If you have thoughts on the wildfire situation, if you are being impacted or have been, if you have had to leave your community because of an evacuation order at some point in time, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this and also just your experiences, because we learn from each other. 709-722-7111, 1-800-563-8255. You can text us, 709-327-8206. Emails thesignal@cbc.ca. Conception Bay South Mayor Darren Bent is on the line. Mayor Bent, hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, tell me, sir, there are folks who have evacuated in your community. Is it the community center or the stadium? Just remind me exactly where they are.
Yeah, so we've set up a welcome center basically at the CBS Arena on Grand Mifflin Drive there, just top of Legion Road in CBS.
What's the latest on everything there, and just for what the calls you're taking and what you're doing as mayor of CBS, just watching what's unfolding through with Holyrood on your border, plus in Conception Bay North, just your general thoughts.
Well, for the folks in Conception Bay North, it's just heartbreaking to hear the stories and to know what's going on out there. And the first time these fires rolled around, I have a close friend who lost a home out there, and I know the hurt and the devastation that can cause and the upheaval for families and people. And our hearts go out to our friends in that area. And I just hope that they can get these fires knocked down as soon as possible. But, there's been a lot of damage done. People being safe is number one, of course. But, once you get beyond that, you got to deal with the loss of what you put your livelihood into and your heart into. And so it is devastating, and our hearts go out to all those people. And, hopefully they can get that under control soon. Here in Conception Bay South, we have a about a 5-hectare area that has burned within our boundary.
Yeah.
But it's attached to the fire, of course, that started yesterday in Holyrood, just not too far from the border. And overnight, thankfully, and we were watching it closely, and that there were no flare-ups. The winds didn't come up this morning like some feared. And, of course, it's a matter of smoldering and hot spots. The Holyrood Fire Department have been doing an incredible job on their side dealing with the biggest part of it. The CBS Fire Department are on top of it on our side of it and are monitoring the hot spots there. We are very thankful that the province has sent ground crews and a helicopter back to the scene today. And we know that we wish we had more, but we also know that there's a great need over in CBN and that they have to divvy the resources up the best they can at this point. And I know there's supports coming from outside the province, but right now there's no threat currently to any dwellings in CBS. And we still have the center open here at the arena, and anybody that needs to register with the Red Cross. And I think you've heard a couple people and your reporter talk about people coming in today to register that may have been with family last night, or may have been, I think one lady was in the hospital, came by this morning to register for supplies or lodging. And of course, the Salvation Army are here doing an incredible job. And the donations that are coming in from businesses here in the community are just incredible. And I think that most people that come here are getting the services that they need. So we're going to keep this going as long as we need to. And to be honest with you, we are hoping and praying that we are winding down at some point. But still, with the hot spots out there, it's not safe enough to change any of the notices that we have out or the evacuations, because I think as our friends in CBN know, these things can take a turn fairly quickly.
Mayor Bent, I granted we're dealing with a lot right now, but when we just take a step back for a second and we look at what is happening, and then we look at the future for next summer, the summer after, everything else, and we think about emergency preparedness for whether it's Conception Bay South, Conception Bay North, Newfoundland, and Labrador, what are you yourself as mayor thinking about what we should be doing, or perhaps doing differently, or thinking about in order to shore up our ability to protect ourselves from wildfires?
Well, while we've seen wildfires burning uncontrollably in Alberta and western provinces, BC, and we wonder, every year they seem to be worse, and they seem to be no further ahead. Yeah. And then you wonder, how could we possibly be further ahead than them? They've had incredible amount of more experience than we've had. So it's very concerning. And given what's climate change, what this dry summers, we've never seen a dry summer like this, and I'm not sure that the people that are keeping records would say that there's ever been as dry a period of time, certainly on this end of the province. But how do we do that? And the best that we can do is that each time something like this happens, is that the province brings people together. You sit down and you work through the things that work, the things that didn't work, and put in the protocols and the operations that are necessary. I will say that the Provincial Emergency Operations Center, from our experience this time in getting the Red Cross, getting the Salvation Army together on site and getting that response, worked very well. But when it comes to actually fighting forest fires, I don't know. I mean, it's going to take some real thought on that. And as things dry, and look, we got this fire now where right now, and it's going to be different in an hour, it seems to be in a spot where if the helicopter, and even if we could get a water bomber, that we can put this one to bed, maybe at some point over today or tomorrow. But what if another one happens in the back of Kelligrews or Fox Trap, like we saw a couple of years ago? How do you manage it? If how much resources do we have? And it just seems to be more problematic this year than last year. It's drier. Yeah. We welcome the fire ban, but you also got to get people to mind it. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm flabbergasted. We had 7 incidents of people lighting fires on Topsail Beach last night. And I know it seems fine. I know you're on a beach and it seems fine, but it's not fine.
No.
You know, something blows and something hot gets up in the woods behind that, we're into a tragic situation. People have got to mind the fire ban. Fire bans need to be in place, but we need to mind them too. And it's very upsetting. We're dealing with resources today to try to talk about whether we should close Topsail Beach or not. You know, and we don't want to, but how do we deal with people going down and lighting fires?
Yeah, if they're not listening, right? If they're going
area.
down, not listening, and when a small ember and these dry conditions can lead to what we're looking at, and so this is where you're at, thinking about closing Topsail Beach off because people are not listening. Wow.
Yeah. It is. It's sad. It's incredibly sad. It eats up our resources and our time, and we're dealing with a fire on our west end of town. We're working with the Holyrood Fire Department to ensure that all of us are safe and our residents are safe. We've got people out of their homes, people that have been evacuated in CBS, and many more in Holyrood, and yet people are still lighting fires.
Yeah.
You know, what do you do, right? And, I know people say, oh, you charge them, all that. Yeah, that's great. But, if you charge 5, are there 5 more tomorrow? Or, when does it stop? So we're reevaluating our situation, but it's a big concern. And if they're lighting fires on Topsail Beach, where else are they lighting fires? Right? They up in the country doing it somewhere. They're burning some brush. It's scary and it's concerning. And we've got people last night in Holyrood and CBS worried for their homes, worried for their safety because of these fires. And I don't know what causes them all, but it should be a wake-up call to everyone to just be, look, boys, we don't need a fire this week. We don't need a fire next week, right? This can wait. And, and I don't want to be jumping on people and saying it's, but it's a fact. As a town, we're dealing with that right now. Our fire department is thinking about that also. They shouldn't have to.
Yeah. Mayor Bent, thank you for the updates and just talking through the thought process of wearing that hat as mayor for what you and the community are going through right now. Obviously, more from CBC will be in touch with you to follow through with this, but I appreciate you coming back on this show.
Yeah, and thank you, and we appreciate all the efforts of everybody and the volunteers and the people that are reaching out. The support for the people is overwhelming, and it's greatly appreciated.
All right, thank you, sir. Be well.
Take care.
Darren Bent there, Mayor of Conception Bay South. You're listening to The Signal. We're winding down on the show here today. Typically, folks, Tuesday's gardening day, but with the wildfire situation on the Avalon Peninsula, we've kept going. Linda Fraser's on the line from Holyrood. Hi, Linda.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Can you tell me about your situation?
Oh, my situation is fine. Is right outside of other people here today. About a half a mile away, I guess, from the fire. I'm not very good on distances and stuff like that, but it's, and I think it makes everybody aware. I think what's happened is a tragedy. Thank God there's been no lives lost. I think about the people who've lost their homes and what they left behind in their home. Probably heritage, cherished pieces belonging to their family. I think about those things, but thank God right now nobody has lost their life.
Yeah.
And, Holyrood is a very senior-full community. And where this incident happened, whatever the cause, it was down there too close to too many senior citizens' homes. And I hope they find the cause, and I hope the consequences are as need be. And remember, forgiveness is always a big thing, and we forget that sometimes too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what to say.
I think you're saying that, Linda, everything you're saying is, I think, what a lot of people are thinking, feeling, right? We talk about community. We talk about wanting to protect folks, keep our seniors safe. The thought of losing a home, right? A home, it is the most personal thing for people to lose, and with family history, that is it's a soulful connection to a home, and to lose that is a massively sad thing. But like you said, luckily, lives have not been lost.
That's right. And you know what? And the reason is because now I'm going to tell you, I was gardening yesterday, and I was at it from about 9 o'clock in the morning until the first siren I heard, and I had my hand deep down in the ground, and it was so dry. It was so dry. I could not believe it. There wasn't, from the 4 or 5 hours I was in the ground, there wasn't a worm, there wasn't an insect of any kind, of any size in the ground. That's how dry everything is. And if they're hearing this and they don't believe me, go out and check a spot in your lawn. And I was feeling bad because I thought, oh gosh, I'm really doing a poor job of gardening and cutting the grass and everything else. And when I look and driving through and I look at other people's lawn and I see the dry spots, that's quite an awakening. Yeah. There is something wrong. And I went to the boardwalk here and I watched the planes flying down deep. They weren't 3 minutes picking up the water, and they were en route again. Their communication between their pilots I don't know. It's science.
Yeah, it's quite the work. Dangerous, but quite the work they're doing. And with the volunteer and the full-time firefighters, the volunteer firefighters, everyone pulling together to try to stop these things, and forestry officials, of course. Yeah.
I had my awakening a couple of years ago when I saw what it took to study to be a firefighter. Yeah. And the courses, something like 20 courses, if I remember correctly. And I think about that crowd up there, and as well, they have their the people who bring you to hospital if you need to go to the hospital. They're all fantastic people. That's people of character. Yeah. And what they do, what they go through to protect us is phenomenal. God bless them.
Well said, Linda. Thank you so much, and we'll be in touch. And be well. And I hope everything turns out to be okay now with the in Holyrood.
With the right people protecting us, it will turn out okay. Thank you so much.
All right, my dear.
All right. Bye.
David Moores is online too. David.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Well, it's good for some of us, I guess. First thing guys got to say is somebody's been around a few forest fires. Hats off to everybody who's trying to do anything around there. And you got a lot of people in these situations who it's not their day-to-day job, and they're just trying to pitch in, and it's risky stuff for everybody. Just want to give you a little perspective. In one of my former lives, I flew some Jet Ranger helicopters for Universal. Now, Universal Helicopters, now defunct. And we did a lot of work for government. And a Jet Ranger, by the way, is the little ones. The inside of it is about the size of a Volkswagen or a Corolla. And we did a lot of forestry work, wildlife work, and that inevitably led to forest fire work. And I remember working on two particularly large ones. There's many, but two particularly large ones. One near Port Hope Simpson in Labrador, and that went on for quite a while, to the point where the community was evacuated. They put everybody on the old Bonavista and sent them down to St. Anthony. And there was another huge one out Bishop's Falls area. And again, these are back quite some time. But I'd be there with the little Jet Ranger, trying to do what I could. And what you got to realize on some of these fires, we'd be there to be a couple of helicopters, small helicopters, above us in the smoke and the fog and everything else. There'd be a couple of water bombers going around. If we were real lucky, there'd be a bird dog above him, above those guys, trying to keep an eye on what was going on. We were always in communication, always chatting. Where are you? What are you doing? And the little helicopter job, along with dropping maybe 75 gallons of water here and there, which is not a big help. We moved crews and we moved equipment. And, again, it's all dangerous stuff.
Yeah.
Working around helicopters is dangerous. Being around fires and the risk of being cut off, we always had to have an alternate pickup spot for the crews you put out, just in case the wind changed. You had to know where you were looking for people. And
we got about 20 seconds.
I don't want to use the word, but it was kind of organized chaos. Yeah. Everybody was, you get up early in the morning and get out at it before the wind and the temperature picked up. And everybody in the evening is just dog-tired, dirty as you ever can imagine, covered in sweat, bug bites. It's really tough work. And the water bomber crews, They are such a skilled bunch. They have to fly and do some work every few days just to stay current.
David, are we
to be able to do that.
We got to run. We're coming up to the news.
Understood.
But I appreciate your call and telling us about that experience. Thank you.
All right. Best to the crews.
Thanks, sir. All right, folks, that is it for today's show. Tomorrow, we had a wildfire show planned for tomorrow, and we're expanding it to cover from everything from prep to during and after. We'll have some answers and solutions, and we're just going to keep talking through this on the signal. So stay tuned for tomorrow. Cheers.